Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin A.K. Tags.
I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 250. It's here.
Our special surprise for our faithful listeners.
Maybe video. Maybe. You might get this. I don't even know.
Just face.
It shows lagging already to me, so who knows how this will work.
What do you mean lagging? Yeah, I'm actually only showing 80% instead of the normal 99.
Yeah. Well, let's just see how it goes. You might just get audio. It might just be a completely, absolutely normal episode with just audio. It will still be audio only, and the audio only version for those listening, all the majority of people that listen, it will sound exactly the same because it will be edited and we will clean it all up. But if you are a YouTube's person or a video person, then you might get stuck with some awkward pauses. Randomness. Oh man, it is like
you're foggy, man.
You just don't move on. Yeah, mine. Big shout out to our
GBs.
Well, I don't know. Who knows what this thing's doing? Big shout out to our patrons. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. Patreon gets you access to After Dark. It's our podcast after the podcast, where we continue to discuss things and talk about stuff in togetherness of whatever.
Yeah.
That's the gist.
Promo done.
That's right. Thanks everybody though for who resubbed up.
Stamped it.
A couple people who upgraded. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And how's your week, Ty?
It's been a good week. Good week. We got one of those passes to the rec centers, and we've been going to the rec center a ton, swimming like crazy. Well, I'm not. Some days not. And it's just random, but we're going almost every day, which is nice. And go for a few hours, and the kids are getting a lot more confident in the pool, but they're not swimming yet. But you know what's amazing to me?
Tell me.
They're not called life jackets anymore for whatever the reason is. Maybe that became an offensive term, but they're called PFDs. Okay, Justin?
Personal flotation device?
Oh,
did I get it?
The first time.
That is stupid though. It's a life jacket, okay?
It's a life jacket. Yes, it's because there is no reason to wear it except for your life
saving.
the life. That's it. Like when Seinfeld's swimming, right? He's like, there's a fish, there's a rock. Who cares? Don't die. Don't die.
Exactly.
Don't die. Right.
Personal
exactly.
flotation device. That's a friggin' floaty. That's like one of those inner tubes you fill up. That's a personal flotation device.
I have no idea how this video is going to work out, man.
It will be fine. It's just garbage for us. No, it'll be fine.
Yeah. If not, you weren't. Okay. Yeah, sure. Right. Good. That's right. If not. So anyway, they're wearing their PFDs, but PFDs blow my mind. Like, when was the last time you heard of a life jacket failing, not working ever? Oh, well, they drowned because there's a 1% chance.
I mean, you can still drown with a life jacket on, but that's just because you like tipped somewhere, or some kids are small and their heads go.
Even then, they're designed.
They're still floating. Still gonna float.
And all you do is just the one strap. There's a second one, through the crotch, not through the crotch, but under the crotch just in case. But it's almost never needed unless they're crazy small. And you can barely even get your arms out. Like the most annoying things to get off. They never fail. Like, I am terrified of my kids being in the pool. Like, I just always, I've seen too many movies. every time they're in the pool, I just picture them drowning, and that's it. They're dead. They're gone. That's it. Goodbye. And
you jump in there and save them.
No, I'd like pass out halfway down, but I'd be trying to save them.
Die with them.
Without hesitancy, which is a good thing for a parent. But no, then it's one of those things where it's just always been nervous. And a lot of the time it's just because other kids, right? Like so many other kids are good and responsible, but there's always douchebags around, right? And so it's like, and then they play those games where they hold a kid underwater for a few seconds. No,
don't do that.
The game. F you, I'm going to murder you without blinking, and I will not regret it for the 20 years of personal life that I have. Exactly, right. Yeah. World's better off without you. Anyway, so you heard it here first. So just one of those things where I've always been nervous with my kids in the pool, and but now that they're like with those PFDs, they're in the deep end. They're like farthest end of the deep end, 3 meters, just jumping, come back, trying to do flips and completely failing off the diving board. And I'm like reading my book. It's amazing how
fear just disappears with them on.
But they really do. They're just too good. The PFDs, like you just
It's a life
can't
jacket,
fail.
please.
It's
Okay.
right, but I have refused ever since I started being amazed by the lack of failure rate with them. I've refused to look up what's in them to make them so perfect.
What, like out of principle? I don't understand.
No, not a principle. It's just I don't want to ruin the surprise. Like my wife recently has mastered Rubik's Cubes.
No.
Became a thing and she wanted to do it and she did it. And now they're not a mystery to her and she's disappointed that they're no longer some sort of baffling mystery. She gets the puzzle and the pattern behind the different stages of wherever it is that the Rubik's Cube is at. And it's now Rubik's Cubes are ruined for her. She doesn't enjoy the fact that she's solved the mystery. So I am not going to discover the mystery behind PFDs.
I won't look it up for you.
Thank you. And that's it. That's it. That was my week.
That's good.
PFDs,
That's awesome.
Fallout Shelter, obviously the 325 reveal we'll get into. Yeah. Rec Center PFDs and trying to like Stephen King.
Oh, are you still reading the books?
Yeah, I promised.
Did you finish the one you were reading when we went? That was massive when we went to LA.
Salem's Lot. Oh no, I'm like 20 pages. That's taken me like it's just he just doesn't suit me, right? Mr. King just does not suit me. So I'm like, I think I was on page 100 when we went to LA a month and a half ago. I'm on page 200 and something now. Like
good for you.
It's tough. It's tough.
Are you reading something else while you read it, or is that the only one you read?
No, that's my wife. She is 6 books at a time.
Oh,
I'm
really?
still waiting for her to finish The Witcher that I finished 20 years ago. Like all 6 or 7 books. And then she got me, you know how spreadsheets turn me on? Well, she was asking because I've recently read through, oh, hey, here they are. What's that called? The Expanse series.
Yeah, I remember you
And
talking about
then
them.
all the Terry Brooks for the Sword of Shannara. Hang on. Right? All
Beautiful.
like 39 books for that. And she's like, which one do you think I should read next? And the 2 series that I read, and I'm like, you're going to read one of my book series? I'm like, oh, she's like, well, which one do you think would be? And I'm like, so I go into all this thought about it and I respond to her like 2 days later because I'm trying to think about which one would be
She already
best. I'm
picked something
super
else.
excited. Who am I joking? She's like 6 books at a time. She's not going to get to it. Like it's going to be 8 years ago. I don't even, I'm not going to remember these series by the time she picks one. So I don't remember how that happened, but yeah. Anyway, good week. How was your week?
It was good. It was a lot of work. It was busy dealing with the back stuff, and I'm just trying to remember, what did I do? Oh, we just chilled
Busy
this
dealing
week.
with back stuff or busy and dealing with back stuff?
Both, yeah, and dealing with back stuff, trying to chill. Oh boy, I don't know. Audio, we'll figure this one
Keep
out.
them in, just keep them in.
I'm gonna try and
Raw.
take it out for
Raw. Nipple
for-
slips, keep
They
them in.
sound awful though. Once I actually like process our audio, your coughs sound like you're dying. My kids have been away, as they are. They're coming back tonight. So Christina and I were just chilling. I did some doctor appointments this week.
Okay.
I had a good meeting actually with my own doctor because I was talking about all the shit that happened when I went up to Kamloops and the stuff I wasn't happy with, and she also wasn't happy with it. So that was at least good.
Kamloops.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was mostly just work. It's like when my kids are away, I can get so much more stuff done. So it was good for that. And then went out a couple nights with Christina for dinner, and then that's it. Work. I did catch the 325 PoE part announcement thing.
reveal?
I didn't watch any of this stuff afterwards, but I did watch the release, which it was fun, and I can definitely understand why. Besides the fact that they listened to us and chose not to include PoE2 content, I can also understand why there was no PoE2 content.
I feel like that was us.
No, it was so much though. There's no way
Well,
they
not
could have
even
fit in
us,
PoE2.
more you. I agree with you, but you're the one that keeps vocalizing it. So they agree.
They couldn't have fit it though, even if they wanted to.
You know what? That was one
There's no
point
way.
that kind of discouraged me that they're not listening to us. It was just because it was a
just
good
there's too
decision by
much.
them. But yeah, it was
But
a
I'm gonna stick with
huge
it was-
announcement. Of course it is. Of course they're listening to us. That's exactly it. They don't make any decisions until they've listened to our episodes. Of course, the first 30 minutes of our episodes are the most important because it reminds
That's
them
the
that
only they listen
life
to.
is more important than their work anyway.
That's right.
And then they're all like, right, we should take our kids to the rec center. Right. We should send our kids off for a month with our in-laws.
Best idea ever.
Right. Let's just, you know,
Let's not talk about PoE2
kumbaya.
yet.
They do a little bonfire in the office and then back to decision making.
Yeah,
You're
so
welcome, GGG. You're welcome.
I did get to watch that this week, which was fun. That was yesterday. So yeah.
Yeah.
I did. That was pretty much the week. I did go to a really nice restaurant actually.
And I guess you can't say what it is because it's probably
don't
local.
I don't know. It wasn't local. No, it was actually out of town, but it was nice. We went out to a nice restaurant and
Well, that's nice. Like
I watched Kingdom.
nice as in $20 steaks, $50 steaks, or $100 steaks.
Our meal between the two of us was $200.
But
it
you
also
normally like 20 old fashions.
I didn't get 20.
19 and a half.
I
I'm
did have
cutting back.
3. I did have 3. And Christina had a couple drinks. It was good though. It was nice. I watched Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. That's the newest one.
Oh,
I
okay.
love
Is
the
that a
Planet of the Apes
series?
movies.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
going to, because it is, they're all about continuity with those shows as far as I understand. And I'm not caught up with them.
I watched all of them again leading up to this one. I've always liked them for some reason.
Would you
I don't
watch?
know why.
Oh, you don't do things that way. I was going to ask what you watched them on, but that wouldn't matter.
My TV.
Yeah, my TV has all the shows.
Yeah, but that was good. And then we watched there's a new one on Netflix. It's a golfing one. It's about this Hispanic team that played it was back in like the 60s and they created the first kids high school team or something, and it was really good though. It was a good movie. So we watched that.
Neat.
It's on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called. The something, but I don't remember.
Love the thes.
The
Love
thes.
the thes.
The thes. Yeah.
Movies without thes are pretty good too. I
Some.
saw Black Crab, and it's
is that?
it's a Netflix movie. It's with Noomi Rapace. She was the I guess we probably would most recognize her from the North American version of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Okay, yeah.
And then, of course, she's a fantastic actress, so she went on to do a million other things. But it's a Swedish movie, which I love. That's like, to me, Prime is my
Subtitles,
favorite. Prime is just the best when it comes to like sci-fi stuff, and that's all. I love it. I watch the craziest, unheard of movies because it's all just sci-fi. Prime is, if I had to choose one, it would be Prime.
Okay.
But Netflix is so good at having such an international library. Like they'll, with Spanish directors, Spanish actors, like it's not taking, like the North American Hollywood big names and then putting them into a Spanish or a Brazilian or a Russian movie. They just go there. They have their own, I don't know, base there in whatever nationality. And then, they'll get a Russian director, Russian producers, Russian everything, actors. And then they, it's their content. And I absolutely love that. And so Black Crab was Sweden, and it was all Swedish, which was awesome, but they didn't like introduce it as any of that. I'm like, I had to go and Google, and I hate Googling stuff mid movie. And I'm like, what language is Black Crab?
What made you look them
Swedish.
up, or what made them come
Well,
up?
I like her, but the idea of it, the premise, which I don't even normally read because I hate a lot of the times for the sake of marketing, the premise will include something that's like the twist that's halfway through the movie, and I don't want to know that. So I normally don't read it, but the premise was really cool, and it was about a civil war, kind of like just not during the Civil War, but I guess it's like, maybe a year or two into a civil war in Sweden, and a really unique strategy to attempt to stop it. But it was really cool because it was all based on a personal individual's experience, which was Noomi's.
Cool.
And very cool. I've been going nuts with a little bit of these sci-fi. I was going through Prime, like Erin and I watched a movie the other night, and then she was just kind of dozing off on the couch, and so I did like half hour of what should I watch next, but it ended up being like, hey Erin, check out all these cool shows that you've never heard of that I've watched and really loved. Oh, I like this one. Oh, I didn't like this one. Oh, I like this one. Oh, I didn't like this one. And it was pretty rad. Cool. Basically, I'm amazing and I'm the best husband, and she's very lucky.
That's what I take it from that
to
as
fall
well.
asleep to either Andre the Blacksmith in Dark Souls 1 going ding, 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 or my blurbs on reviews on shows. But I'm glad you liked your show. That's cool.
Yeah, they were good.
Any other stuff like that? You shout them out, send them my way.
We're almost finished.
Mad Men.
Yeah, we're on the last season, and I'm kind of ready to be done.
Sometimes certain shows,
7 seasons is long, and it's kind of like
with a show like that,
just dragged
with that
on.
premise. Yeah,
like I love the first season or two, and then it was fine, and now it's just kind of like it's not what it was when it first started. Like the sort of the premise of it in the beginning was really cool. Now it's telling a good story, but it's just not the same story that drew me in, and so I'm kind of just like let's just finish it. But also, if another movie comes up, let's do that instead. And
you know what, though? That's why you've kind of gone too long. And that's one thing, this is on a side topic, but it's an actor that really gets it as a producer-director. Michael Bay. No, what's his face? He does Beetlejuice. Why can't I think of his name?
Michael Cera.
Michael Keaton.
He's the director? Yeah, he acts in Michael Keaton acts in it, yeah. What are you typing?
Yeah.
What is going on?
I don't know why my brain blanked out of it. Michael Keaton when they were talking about Beetlejuice 2, it was he said, I will only do it if Beetlejuice, the character, has equal to or less time than the original movie. I will not do Beetlejuice if Beetlejuice is the main character, and if he's going to get more screen time, I will not do it.
So,
but I get that because
I haven't seen it, so I don't actually know. Was Beetlejuice not a big part of the main movie?
Beetlejuice is the main character, but a side character. It's kind of like, have you ever seen The Chosen, like the Jesus streaming binging thing? Oh, okay. The Chosen's about the disciples, not about Jesus, right? Okay. But obviously Jesus is the main character. The same thing with Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is the main character, but he's a side character. So it's all the events revolve around what Beetlejuice is going to do and how he's going to impact the movie, but he's in like 20% of the movie. Right.
I see.
And so, but the reason that he said that is, like it's the style of character that he is. He's an annoying character. He's only good in increments, and you do too much of that. It's the same thing. And a lot of TV shows, going back to Mad Men, don't get that. You know what I mean? Like there's really cool premises, really cool aspects of it. But for example, you watch The Boys. If they did those crazy things that you loved about The Boys all the time, it'd be a dumb show. Yeah. You have to do it in really small increments.
Season apparently it's out, and I am going to watch it.
Gotcha.
So The Boys is a great one. I will forever laugh about the scene with the dolphin. Forever. Like forever, ever, ever. It will be one of the funniest things.
No, I haven't seen it.
Why?
Do you actually think I would like it?
Yes, I actually do think you would like it. I'm
writing a small story just for myself, like a book. Like I've always wanted to be an author. I'm writing stuff, but I will give you the premise.
Okay.
Of what I'm writing, and then you will forever know what interests me in shows and stories.
I don't think I will, but tell me.
No, not now. I'm not telling the masses. Get out of here.
Oh, I see.
No, wait, no. Tell me. Okay, you're going to have like 8 drinks so that you love everything that comes out of my mouth. And I love it, Tyler. I will tell you. Woo, anyway, and then I will tell you, and then you'll know what to suggest if you remember the conversation.
Yeah, you like to laugh, so you would like it.
I've heard of laughing. All right. Yeah. Where are we? I don't see the timestamp on our recording.
18 minutes, so people can't bitch.
Well, what are we like? Are we like supposed to show some skin or something? What do we do?
I think, do we have to just like randomly flash 250 on the screen somewhere?
So
like confetti.
Lawn update.
That kind of thing.
Lawn update. It has been in the high 30 degrees.
Yeah, it's cool off
in our area in the Lower Mainland for a month straight. That is the new normal, but it's not what the environment here is used to as the new normal. We are very rainy in the lower mainland, and so normally
excuse your lawn right now, or what's going on?
This is a long conversation. So normally we're very rainy, but the last maybe 4 or 5 years, it's just been like pure sun. There's been very little rain interruptions. We've had, I think, 30 days without rain. It's been high 30s. Obviously, water restrictions based on where all the different cities get their water from. Nothing like when we were in California, where 2 water bottles a day. God bless
For some
you.
of us.
Shut up. But minor water restrictions at this point because the river's still high. But there's not much to do. It's too hot to seed. There's no point in fertilizing at this point. It's just too hot. Like the next time to
water mine in the
properly
morning.
deal with the lawn beside. Well, yeah, you do. You're not supposed to, but you do. And then
Yes, you can if it's at a certain time. Okay.
Once a week.
That's debatable.
I shouldn't get into the details because then people could really pinpoint us. But I know that's debatable. Actually, you know what? I don't care if it's a Sunday or not, but I insist on doing a Sabbath, like a day off every week for the family.
Okay.
And when we're supposed to do our lawn watering was on Sunday.
They pick days?
Yeah. I love that you don't even know. And so anyway, for my specific house, it's supposed to be on Sunday. And I'm like, well, I asked for an exemption. I'm like, hey, listen, we Sabbath and we normally Sabbath on Sundays. Can I do it on a different day? And they're like, no. It was like the shortest answer. No, but think about it. Like it's not actually.
They're not going to make an exception. Also, just do it a different day. Just water.
No, but then it cost me the fine. Do you know how many times I've had a warning on my door because I was using my sprinkler when I shouldn't?
No,
they love my street, man. Yeah, they love my street.
That's got to be a neighbor then. There's no way the city's seen that.
I know which neighbor it is if it is the neighbor.
Well, let's go talk
with
this neighbor. I
100% know the neighbor. Actually, it could be 2 neighbors because there's one neighbor nobody ever talks to.
They don't even exist.
And they have like the worst dog in the world and they know it. So they only walk that dog at nighttime.
We came home last night or 2 nights ago and our neighbor right beside us was out with the hose and sprinkler and like watering
hose
their
is
lawn.
Fine. With right now, you can use your hose anytime you want. Like hand
so
hose.
What's the fine then if you use a sprinkler?
Yeah, it's all has to be manual. That's unlimited right now. But if it's not on a timer, then you have to you'd actually probably be allowed to do it because so like if somebody excuse me, you're not allowed to do this, and you'd be like, well, actually, and you show them your phone, they'd be like, tell me more.
So you can do it if it's on a timer? I don't understand that.
Yes, basically it's don't forget your sprinklers on and accidentally leave it on all day.
I mean, you can get the little ones like I used to have that are just a little timer that's actually on the jack.
Yeah, and I would love to do that, but both of my taps on the outside leak a little bit, so it doesn't make sense for me to have them on all the time and then have a different than have the valve a little bit farther down because they're constantly. It's not a big leak, but it's enough that I'm not comfortable with that pool showing up near the window.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have neighbors that don't care. So
which they're the best neighbors.
It's true.
Your lawn looks just like mine. Looks good, but slightly brown.
It's not very brown at all. It's actually pretty green right now.
You're a dickhole.
I know. It's actually worked out pretty well so far. Sorry. Go on.
No, you know what I like about... So last week, people, for those that are not... and we'll get into patch notes right away. This is Justin and I also like to hang out, and this is actually when we get to hang out because we live. So for those of you that don't like real life talk, go touch some grass or fast forward. I don't know. You got a couple buttons that, what is it? Mine's like back 10 seconds, forward 30 seconds. But anyway, no, it's gone.
Something about last week?
But yeah, it was about you.
What? It had to have been good.
Yeah, it's always good with you.
I don't know.
I'll interrupt our PoE talk with it.
All right, well, what do we got?
Oh, no, After Dark. Last week, I had the weirdest conversation with Justin in After Dark. The weirdest conversation. He wanted to talk about filters. He wanted to talk about filters, and I knew something was up.
You had an idea for a second, and then you just totally got into it. I called
you out a couple times on. I'm like, who put you up to this?
I remember that line.
Who put you up to this? Because there's no way that Justin would. Like, there's only one reason Justin wants to talk about filters, and that's to piss me off. I hate how GGG is apathetic about their cornerstone of their game. Right? They have I'm not going to get into it, but they have a free to play. They say they have a free to play business platform, but nothing about the original experience, right? They're fixing that for PoE2, but there's nothing about the original experience that is conducive to the free-to-play experience, right? There's zero explanations. The filters are garbage, but your vanilla experience needs to be capable of capturing the free to play numbers, the influx of extra numbers you get because you're free to play. Your vanilla experience needs to capture.
I think that can be argued the opposite way as well, though.
Sure,
I think you could argue it.
In my opinion, their lack of explanations and the fact that the loot filter, the default loot filter, is absolutely horrendous. You go delving once, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go play something else. Mm-hmm. And so Justin knows that about me. And he, last After Dark, kept bringing up, like, but what if?
And we're back.
Yeah. So
I can fix
Justin's bringing up the default filter and is talking about, like, well, maybe that's the way they like it. Maybe they actually like it that way. Maybe that's what they are comfortable with when they go home and they use the default filter to play their game. We all know that is the biggest load of crap on the planet.
I don't remember exactly how I brought it up, but it was hilarious.
And he brought it, but he emphasized it so much, and he kept coming back to that point so much that I was like, who put you up to this? Who put you up to this? And last week in After Dark, I had to deal with something. I don't know if this is going to stay in or not, but my son just knocked on the door and he needed something, and so I had to check him out. So last time when we were in After Dark, I was gone for like 2 or 3 minutes dealing with something. You
forgot your tea or something. It was right at the beginning. We just started. We literally had just started.
We've been friends for like 100 hours.
No, but we had just started the episode. You had said, like, I'm Tyler Recker of Days, and then we started talking. You're like, oh, I forgot my tea, or I forgot my something.
Well, so it would have been a coffee, not a tea.
Whatever, it was a drink.
Weed.
Well,
and
so now
anyway,
you know why I did what I did.
So then, while I was gone, he was talking to our listeners and included this in the audio and said, you know what, I'm going to bring up that the default filter is fantastic, and this is probably why GGG.
But did you hear me say too that I was going to wait? I wasn't going to do it right away. I didn't want you to catch on.
I know you had a whole
waited until like 30 minutes
asshole
into the
strategy
episode
regarding it.
Oh, it was so much fun.
And this week, Justin he never listens to the episodes after. Like, he edits it and then it's done, and then it's up to me to listen to the episode and be like, hey, check out this if there's some like
there's a wonky
audio thing. And that's cool. It's a system we have. But out of nowhere, Justin in the middle of the week, he's like, hey, you listen to the first 60 seconds of our last After Dark yet?
I just asked if you listened to After Dark. And you're like,
I know, but
and you're like, why?
Right off the bat. Oh, I'm just curious. It was a good After Dark, but I have no idea what it's like between, like, that's just a filter conversation to our After Dark listeners, but between buddies, you're a dick.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah, it was really
so
funny.
Much fun. I was surprised nobody actually said anything about it either, which was impressive that nobody actually spoiled it.
Secrets. Hey, now impressive. I know. Now I know it's Team Justin, all these secrets.
Normally it would have just been quiet. I would have edited it out. It never would have been in there, but I was like, nah. And so while I was editing it, before I finished it, I showed it to Christine. I was like, check this out. I played her that first part. Good times.
Hey, right. I don't see our timestamp. What's our timestamp?
You can't see it on here? I can see it on there and on our backup. We're at 29.
Where do you see it?
In mine, it shows in the top right corner with people.
With people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have people.
It says right beside our name.
So we're at 29 minutes. All right. Mm-hmm. But it's just a lot. The camera's a lot smaller when I have people up. All right. So 29 minutes.
Let's do Path of Exile this week. There were some things.
There were lots of things, but let's get cut to the chase. Necropolis isn't going core. Makes sense.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Wait, was that
too much micromanagement? But GGG also has a difficult time excluding content that they've come up with. So maybe it'll come back in some form, as we will see in the upcoming 325 video. They definitely love many of their ideas. So maybe it'll come back in some form, but it's not going core right away. There were a billion teasers that happened last week that we got to, and then a billion teasers. So let me put this over here. Well, yeah, there was. The second we finished recording, as soon as
we finished,
yeah. But then there was a whole bunch more, and
which is fine because that was all released then afterwards.
I don't know. Do you want to like these are obviously in the patch notes, but the patch notes are so huge we might miss some of the stuff. Do you want to go through a couple of these now? My
suggestion is you go whichever way you want. My opinions and thoughts and comments are going to be at a very just high level overall. I did not read through the patch notes. I know they're the biggest ones they've ever put out, so kudos to the writers and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool because there's a lot of stuff. But I'm going to talk about just my feelings overall, my excitement, what I liked. And I'm not going to go. I mean, this is not the podcast for somebody to learn about the deep dive delve of a patch notes. Yeah.
Okay. So even though we're 30 minutes in, disclaimer, we are not going to touch on everything. We're just going to talk, and there's going to be tons of stuff we want to bring up that we're going to forget, or it's just not going to come up, and then I forgot to bring it up, and that'll all be offline.
We're not going back to our episode 1 release of reading every word of the patch notes. Sorry to disappoint.
I know, but you know what? There are some people, but this one's way too long for that.
Liars. They don't want that.
They're actually the haters that make new accounts on Reddit and hate us
just to yell at us.
But then they come into our Discord and like, oh, we love you, or you should do this, and they're trying to make us do things that the viewers would hate so that we lose listeners. So here, there's not that many that we missed out on from the last time we stopped recording. We did deal with the 6th map slot. I believe I remember. I don't remember what we talked about, but that sounds familiar. The Bandit Quest is now
cool.
Yeah, and that's actually a really cool addition. They have 3 tempting choices, some short term, some long term. Sid on our Discord was saying, "Listen, that 8% movement speed, I'll normally use two passive points simply to get 10 movement speed on the passive tree, because especially when you're talking about Act 2,
like to have that at Act 2, that's a big deal. Even the 40 life, that's a big deal. Like especially because then you don't have to fight Oak if you're struggling with your build or whatever. Like just eat that, take that 40 health and move on for the beginning. You can come back later and change it out. But I like it. I like that because nobody takes the bandit rewards anymore. And so having
everybody takes the 2 passive points. So now it's 1 passive point or 3 much more tempting bandit rewards. And I really, really like that because you're only trading 1 passive point. So now it's like, okay, I'm thinking about 1 passive point for 15 all res. Minus chaos, of course. I'm thinking 1 passive point for 8 movement speed, 1 passive point for flat life. Like these are they're almost notables. You know what I mean? Like these are like half
barely off.
They're half a notable. So for 1 passive
higher,
point
than that.
Yeah, I
40
guess.
flat life is a mastery. The mastery is 50 is 50 flat.
So you're but then you're looking at it also a ton of other notables where it's like 30 life and 10% life. You know what I mean? So, but either way, like for 1 passive point, those are now very tempting. And why wouldn't you take that? What is it that you're gaining with that 1 extra passive point? Is it a travel node? Like the only reason you would take that extra passive point is because you are like min-maxed. You're at that 97 mark and there's that 1 extra master, that 1 extra thing. Otherwise, you're taking probably, like Sid said, the extra 8% movement speed, probably not the resist unless you're extremely unique heavy, which,
or just early in the game.
But one thing that we'll get into is how all item quantity and rarity has changed with the different kind of mods that drop and where they're available. If you're into an item quantity now, it's unique only. So now all of a sudden, like when you look at the whole picture of these entire patch notes for 3.25, and I'm talking the core game, not the specific league that's coming out, but when you're talking the core game, this is such a cohesive, like, I hated Dragon's Dogma 2. I know you liked it, but one of my favorite things about Dragon's Dogma 1 was how I've always reviewed it in my mind was every lead from every department was in the meeting at the same time all the time. Maybe they didn't feel like they needed to be in the meeting, whatever meeting it was all the time, but they were always there to be like, actually, that doesn't work for my department because of this. You know what I mean? So whether it was fast travel, whether it was monster design, whether it was whatever it was. And it seems like that's how it worked with this specific patch as well. With 325, what is it? Settlers of Kalguur, because so many things intertwine really well with even with these bandit requests. That 15 all elemental res, it doesn't seem huge, but now there is a brand new value on unique items because of how item quantity works and magic. I guess you could, let's call it magic find, because of how magic find is starting to work. Item quantity is only on rares, or sorry, only on uniques. So now all of a sudden, yeah, okay, you know what? I actually need that extra 15%. And maybe that's your lifesaver for getting in that extra unique that'll give you that extra 30% item quantity. So I really like how all that works. Having it for one, and of course you still get the same amount of free passives throughout the campaign. I forget which quest it is, but they give you the freebie in a different quest now. Mm-hmm. I didn't actually double check which quest it is. I don't know if that's now going to be added as a new quest for passive points or not, but either way,
I can't see them adding a new quest. But
after this league, it'll be completely normal. Mm-hmm. So I actually loved that change, and I don't know which one I'd pick based on the normal way that I play my minion build. So fun. Mm-hmm. You liked it, I assume. I know I rambled the whole time, but you liked it.
Which part?
Just the whole bandits change.
Yeah.
But I guess you talk great. Magic fine too. Do whatever you want.
No, I think it's great. I think it's good to switch it up. It's like I said, you've always just done the same thing. So adding something different and making it feel like it's a better choice now, I like that. So I'm good with that.
Word. I speak for 30 minutes. You speak for 30 seconds. I can
totally.
Take it. Simulacrums are now what, like 5 waves?
That's 15. It just starts at 15 now, basically, is what it's doing. They've cut out the first 15 waves, which is great because they were boring.
Right. How many waves was it before?
30. I mean, way back, it used to be 20. Now it's 30. So they've just cut out the first 15.
You know what? And the reason they cut it, from their perspective, it was redundancy. If you were doing simulacrums without actually trying them out for the first time, your goal was to survive the last 5 waves. Mm-hmm. So the first 15 were pointless for you. Mm-hmm. So, right, with the exception of maybe whatever loot you would have, but I don't know how the looting system works.
Apparently with this too. Yes. So I think that'll be good.
So really cool to see that they're just boop, 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 boop. And there was a thing in the Q&A that you were missing, but they wanted to redo a whole bunch of different leagues. They just didn't have the time.
Sure.
The scope of the 325 changes are absolutely massive. So that's definitely not a criticism to, you didn't get to my league. Oh, you're such a lazy company. Like they have tackled so much content that it'll be insane. I will have nothing but praise for GGG, whether the league is good or not. I will have nothing but praise for GGG if this league comes out smooth. There has been so many changes. And one thing I have to praise them for right off the bat, their communication for this reveal was so crystal clear. I can't tell you how many times I heard, and I was happy that I heard, that we're trying this out. This is experimental. We really didn't like the old way. This is a new way. We're trying it. So calm your damn tits. If you don't like it, we're just checking it out. If you don't like it, fine. We'll change it, whatever. Or like, if we don't like it, we'll change it. But like, just chill out. We're just trying this out.
Let's all give it a shot towards together. It was so cool to hear them talk about making changes just because they were tired of things. Like, you can definitely see Mark's influence in a lot of the stuff that's going on. Like, and I like that. I appreciate that. He doesn't like it, so let's try something different. I agree with you too that they multiple times said this is experimental. We want to see how it works. And kudos to them for doing that. And just like, it is a little bit ballsy because they don't have the calmest community. You know what's funny? The one thing that stuck with me, like I know we're going to talk about 325 in a minute. I love
anytime, whatever.
I thought the whole process was so good. I thought it was so in depth this time, like really working through what 325 was going to be. And obviously it's such a huge league that it makes sense what it did.
It is, but yes.
The one thing that stuck with me right off the get-go, and it's so funny because we see it all the time, and you know, you and I have even talked about it. You even mentioned it in the beginning, but the very, very first screen that pops up, it talks about Settlers of Kalguur releasing on this day, but right there it says play for free. And I was thinking about it as I was watching. I was like, man, I feel like that part gets missed so often. We're sitting here on a day watching with 100,000 plus people, 200,000 plus people, watching them release information for an upcoming league that we can't wait to play. And it's a free game. Like, I just find that it really hit me a little bit when I was watching it, because I was like, man, as much as things get frustrating, or I don't really like some things, or I do like some things, it still is a free game. And I'm not committed to I paid lots of money to them, but I did that because I liked it. But I don't know, there was something about it this time when I was watching it. It's all
voluntary. You're not required to pay anything to experience the game.
It stuck with me this time. I have not really paid attention to that. I know we talk about it, but it was just very interesting to me, realizing that I was watching. I can't think of another game that I would be every 4 months, 3 to 4 months, watching a Twitch stream to watch what are they going to do? What's coming next?
Right.
I just thought that was
we're
crazy.
Busy family guys. Like, we're not the type of people where like we're watching every reveal. We're not watching Summer Game Fest.
No,
or
I was
E3
in a meeting
or this.
while it was going on, and I'm like, this is hilarious to me, because there's not another game I would be doing this for.
Right. And we play.
I just appreciate that. So
right, if Age of Empires did that, that's a pay to play game.
I would.
If Age of Empires had a reveal, we'd be like, okay,
cool,
whatever. We'd watch it like 3 weeks later. We wouldn't care. It is crazy.
So it is really cool.
I love our community. Our community is the best, and such a blessing to be a part of, because of just who they are and how.
That's where I get a lot of my information from. So thank you.
Right, but. It's one of those things where we ourselves, no matter the praise that we get, we're just as guilty as everyone else for kind of taking for granted and forgetting that this is a free game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Huge.
And every single penny, with the exception of maybe a couple, I agree that it's a free to play game, and I don't want to get into this conversation now, but I agree it's a free to play game, with the exception of maybe buying the currency tab and 1 or 2 other tabs based on what really interests you. Outside of the currency tab, it's 100% a free to play game. And I am totally guilty of forgetting that it is a free to play game.
Me too.
Every single penny that I have spent is voluntary. And I am very guilty, but I will always criticize them for this, and only because it's my opinion. I think they do their money the backwards way that I would do it if I was in GGG. I would go cheap for volume as opposed to expensive type of thing.
I like the way they do it, but I get it. I totally
the Valdo's box, and then what else was there? Those unique items that you could do, the reliquary keys. Obviously, I've been proven wrong because there are tens of thousands of these things getting in the game. But so they've done it right, and I was wrong. But
I just wanted to bring that up as we got
a very humbling reminder, and I do appreciate you bringing that up, because it is free to play.
I wrote 2 notes while I watched it. That was one of them, and the other one was the silly harpy flyover, which made me laugh. It was an MTX.
Just do it now.
No, that's it. But I'm just saying,
because I don't remember it. I don't know what was on my mind, if I was having a heavy day or distracted by chat or what, but I don't remember a harpy flyover. What was it?
It was I'm jumping way ahead, because it was a supporter pack. They showed their 2 supporter packs. I don't actually
like the supporter packs. I won't spend any money, because the only 2 things I like are in the $90 American pack, which is like $8 billion Canadian. I love the Roa race, even though Roas aren't my weak spot at all. Our Discord community likes to joke that it is.
It is.
Well, even our Christmas cards have huge jokes about Roa. So I do enjoy that joke. And so there was the Roa racetrack hideout, which I really liked. And you and we don't actually like the ultimatum mechanic, but we love the derogatory NPC. And so now you have a pet that cuts you down.
Yeah.
And one thing that GGG does not get enough credit for, like Camille gets tons of credit, and Camille Jr. Sorry, Camille Jr. I really don't remember your name, but I really should. Well, if your name is Michael,
I think it's Michael.
We appreciate you.
Love you guys
both. You do fantastic. But the sound people, the voice dialogue, they don't get enough credit.
Oh, it's so good.
especially because like they didn't even have voice acting for the last half. Now that's not the criticisms of the sound department. They don't make those choices. That's the higher ups. But you have like the audio lines really came to life in Heist, which was probably 3 years ago. But like how they interact, and they had dialogue options based on the individuals that you had in your party and all that kind of stuff. So you know that creativity's there. You know there's somebody that's just bursting at the seams, just waiting for their creativity to be able to be pushed out. And so now you have an NPC that cuts you down. Like I can't wait to see what kind of lines that I have. One that praises you. I don't have one that cuts you down.
Both. If you die, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. If it's the same portal. But I have my portals on random, so I don't hear them very often. But which I still want GGG
give me that
for
sweet pink one.
No, give me the ability to disable certain MTX as part of the random portal system. I don't want that blue one. I don't want the Twitch one. There's some that I used to like that are so stupid now because your technology is so much better.
I know.
But
I'm with you.
With all that voice acting that they do and the creative people that are there with their amazing voice lines, I can't wait to see what kind of comments that specific NPC gives.
Will make,
in certain situations. Like, you know, GGG has these little comments just waiting there for that 1 in 1,000 moment. So, but again, like, obviously I'd be excited for that, but that's not worth $90 American to me. And that would be the only reason.
I mean, the thing is, you get all the other stuff, so that's why it is there. What the Harpy was is when it was a level up. It's like a ring level up, and when you leveled up, this like big puff of like smoke and confetti would blow up behind you in multiple colors, and at the same time a harpy would fly over you like a jet with those lines. It just screamed America to me. Like, it just screamed, like, you know, when I don't know what they do when they do their president things, and when they have like jets fly over with like the American color, it just screamed America. Like,
that's so awesome. You know what though? That's funny because
goes up behind you. It's so funny.
We live in the Lower Mainland, and one of the cities close to us, it has the Abbotsford International Air Show, right? And
you hear it all the time.
Like the snowbirds, and we'll have the thunderbirds, and we'll have like this jet truck racing against a jet thing, and they're like, and they go super close together. Like, it's a huge event, and it's a very, very big international air show, and it's made like all that crazy, like spectacular stuff when you're talking about, and then the smoke like covering all the stands, and then people going, and I can't tell you how many times my family,
but I do know a lot of people.
But my family took me quite a lot to that too. So when I see these little things, even like, you know, we don't have that whole in Canada, we don't have that whole America kind of thing for Canada. Like, we are, but like, it's a very quiet thing. Well, it is. Like, when it comes to hockey, we're like, and we'll murder anybody, and like rugby, anything international. Well, like, we just had like the CONCACAF Cup for soccer. We came in 4th, and like Canada's like, go Canada. But it's one of those things where you're not going to drive past one house that has a Canadian flag out.
And if you drive past one with a Canadian flag or a car, you're kind of like, what's their deal?
Yeah, you're like, they're a little too left or right. We're not that open-minded. We don't want to talk to them. But then you get that international air show feeling that my dad used to take me to a lot, because there's a lot of places around. Like, I'm not too familiar with the area, but there was a lot of places where, like, as a pastor's kid, my dad would take me. So we wouldn't do the paid seats. Actually, he did take me to some paid seats, which was like,
I didn't even know there were paid seats.
When you're a PK, which is the same thing as an MK, right? No money, move around a lot, same thing. Pastor's kid, military kid, same thing. But you're like, man, when your parents spend like $45 a ticket, you're like, man, this is cool, right? And you could hate the whole event, but you're gonna love it, right? You're taking pictures next to an F-18 and all that kind of stuff. But like, we'd always go on those hills, you know, a little bit off to the admission side, and you'd like see the huge, in this case, Roa or whatever, like America missed behind you. I don't know. I must have been typing or something, but that is kind of cool. And is that part of the set with the?
I think the Roa racetrack one. I think so, because it doesn't seem bloody. I feel like the other one was bloody, so yeah, it must have been part of that one. But I don't know that I would buy either of these two. There wasn't anything that really screamed to me that I would want. But whatever. It was cool. Anyway, sorry. So 325.
No, we're good. We're good.
Are we on that yet?
I gotta go to the bathroom in a couple secs, but let's finish up what the teasers were, and then we'll get straight into the patch notes and talk about, like, again, like we said, listeners.
Yeah, go read it.
We're just going to talk. We're not going to try and miss stuff, but there's obviously going to be stuff that we miss because
90% of it will get missed.
that's how conversation works. But div cards, Justin. Now, I'm not a div card guy. I'm not a div card hunter. I'm not one that goes for this. I'm one that loves
div cards.
Having the opportunity to always upgrade my gear, and so I'm unintentionally quote unquote a rare only style player. Unless there's a unique that really perfectly suits my open-mindedness, I'm rare only. But the fact that now on the Atlas passive tree you can see every single map which div cards can drop, and they even give you the ability to swap from one map to another.
You can scry it with the seer.
Exactly. Yes. And so that's another thing. You can see, what is it now? They've added some random encounters that are not on the Atlas passive tree yet, but definitely not for 325. The wisps are now a part of
T16s
in a very modified way. The wisps are now a part of your mapping experience on a very random method. And you can every now and then see, what was it? The Nameless Seer.
Yeah, but he'll just show up in the map. He's not part of the Wildwoods, but yeah.
Right. Yes. And anyway, through some of that process, you can swap one map with another on your Atlas passive tree to be like, actually, I'd like this map that I hate, but I love the div cards. I'd love those div cards to drop in a map that I do love. So let's swap them out.
Yeah,
and
really cool.
Apparently, from what I gather, and more information will come out probably 2 seconds after we finish recording. Apparently, you can swap as many maps as you like, but one map can only be swapped at one time. Yep. So one map cannot have multiple things swapped with it at one time.
Yep.
But anyway, the ability to
depend on how often you find the Nameless Seer, though, too.
Sure. And who knows if that, and I mean, even if that stays core, that'll be something that'll get modified to a properly balanced quantity. But just the fact that you can even hover over a map, even if you couldn't swap, just the fact that you can hover over a map and see which div cards are there.
That's great.
The beginning, Justin, of in-game information in Path of Exile 1. Like that to me,
they feel like they're doing a lot this league.
I do. I 100% agree with you. But to me, when I first saw this reveal, this was prior to the 325 announcement. That was part of my thing. Like one of my responses on Twitter was, we're starting to get in-game information. This is amazing. This is fantastic. I love it. And I don't even care about div cards. Just give them to me. Sweet. I'll collect them. I'll turn them in. I'll never trade them. I'll just turn them in, see what I get. Awesome. Great. And I'm one of those players where it's like, sweet, I got another 40 scrolls of wisdom. Bring it on. Like, I like it. And then Valdo's boxes got modified a little bit dumbed down, a lot more frequent. Those are the T17 uniques that people made.
So it was the really good rewards were just much more rare, but they wanted to keep it so you're still getting the Valdos. Yeah. Because there were too many headhunters and mage bloods in the submissions.
That's right. And then, of course, we already mentioned it, but the last reveal prior to the 325 announcement was that Sacred Wisps and the Wildwood are back. Unfortunately, though, I do need to go to the bathroom. Be right back. Well.
And we're back, just like that.
We're keeping it in.
Who knows how this is going to go?
All right. So those are the teasers. Patch notes are infinite and massive. Yep. Let me go through my quick notes. I made a couple notes that aren't like patch notes specific.
What are they specific? Like, are we going to talk about the league, or what is your notes?
Well, first one.
Yeah.
They didn't start with Path of Exile 2. We talked about that at the beginning, but we were joking around about it in terms of praise for us, pretending that they were, listening to us. But I think it's really smart that they didn't. Yes, because the announcement was long, like the original announcement, not just including the Q&A, but the original announcement was quite long. And I think they did a fantastic job with the amount of detail they provided. Not too much, not too little. The duration was great. And I think they did a perfect job with it. And the fact that hopefully that's just a decision going forward.
I don't think it will be.
Are separate games.
I don't think it will be, but I would love it.
Unfortunately, you're right a lot. And that sucks for my pride and all that kind of stuff. But I do hope going forward, they just consider them separate games. They're completely separate experiences. If you like Path of Exile, if you prefer Path of Exile 1 over Path of Exile 2, that's because you're a different type of a ARPG player. You're looking for a different experience. Same with, like, there are people that are obviously going to like both, and many of us will, but they're still going to be very different games at the end of the day. Otherwise, there's zero point in keeping them.
That's my reason, is they're not the same game. It's different.
Right.
And right now, Path of Exile 2 is not playable. So do your teasers and do your things for Path of Exile 2 as you lead up towards Path of Exile 2, but don't tie it into the release for your Path of Exile 1 League, because that's what we get to play. I thought actually the way that they did it was even better this way, where at the very end, they're like, oh yeah, if you want to sign up for the beta,
wasn't that great?
Like, that's
I went to go sign up for the beta, and I mean, I've been registered for their emails. I haven't received one email from them since the dawn of time. Like, even when it came to like, there's not even an email saying, hey, we're going to have a reveal. Oh, hey, the witch reveal is coming. They don't even send emails for that. I don't know what the registration is for, but I've been signed up.
Are you sure you want to get emails from us? And I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's right. And so I've been signed up with them for forever. I didn't realize that all it is registering. It's not specifically registering for the beta. All it is hi.
Well, it is registering for the beta, but they called it registering for the beta. But
it's all it is a normal registration.
It's just registering for the newsletter, essentially.
Spam, which thank goodness there's zero spam, but there's also zero information. They don't give anything. So anyway,
I did like that though. I liked how they did it. I liked that it was just, let's focus on this league. Let's focus on all the changes. But the reason I don't think it stays like that is just because of the scope. The size of this one was so massive that for them to have done both would have been.
It would have been a 3-hour thing.
And maybe they don't have anything either, right? Like,
true. And but hopefully they see how successful this reveal was without PoE2. Maybe they've been including PoE2 for the sake of trying to encourage numbers for their PoE1 league. But
I read a lot of comments, Ty, though, that said, oh, I was hoping to see PoE2 it's too bad we didn't get PoE2 updates. So which I do understand from some people's point. I just my feeling is like there's too much. There's too much PoE2 stuff. So whatever, in the end, they're going to do what they're going to do, and we'll comment however we want to comment. But I loved this. This was fun for me. I enjoyed the whole thing up until I couldn't watch anymore. So
another comment I had is, this seems very story based. Obviously we haven't played it yet, but to have like a city building experience and to include a different mechanics NPCs, obviously the Kalguur, right? So expedition, but to add a new NPC, but then include previously existing NPCs into a new mechanic, that's really new. Outside of Zana being included in everything before she disappeared, that's a new thing, to take existing NPCs that are in the core game for a specific mechanic and now include them in a second mechanic. That's really unique for Path of Exile. And of course they care about their lore, whether it interests everybody or not, who knows. But I get the feeling now, like, remember back in the day, Chris Wilson said, I know exactly how many leagues it is until PoE2 releases. Obviously there's been some
that's not true, but
there's been some hiccups since then, and that's now an invalid piece of information or prediction. But now there's a lot more firm footing going forward. They've figured out the WASD, a lot of their controller and the decision making, a lot of it's done now. It's just honing in the mechanics.
I would bet they know now.
Right.
I would bet they know now. Yeah.
Right. They got the witch down. They have minions down. They have melee down. Like, that's your hiccup. It was never spell casting. It was never the balance of the creativity of different spells that you have. It was minions and it was melee, and then it was how the game feels. They have that, and now they have had the little leak of Trevor saying November for the beta. Right now you're signing up for the beta. Like, they've got their date, their goal, internal goal, nice and set. So I don't think their leagues and their stories are going to be completely irrelevant to Path of Exile 2. when I start seeing this city building thing and the Kalguur coming in, I kind of get the impression I'm like, okay, now our lore going forward, the kit and cat noodle stuff that we're going forward, this is setting up for the events that we're going to be revealed as we start playing.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I thought it was really clever to have this city building idea and bring in the expedition NPCs, because it does make sense. Like it fits for what they're going to do. And just, I don't know where you're at in your notes because I'm not looking at them, but I love this mechanic. I think it's so fun to have that as something to do as you're playing alongside. I love that it's not, I have to spend all my time on it, but it's something I can actually do while I'm playing. I think that's fun. I think it's really fun.
A minor amount of micromanagement or a minor amount of decision making, and then I get to go play the reason that I'm sitting down to play for.
Which also affects that too, though. That's why I think that's so cool. Like while I'm doing my mapping and doing my stuff, it's also having an effect. We've talked in the past about bringing in different types of mechanics into this game and whatever. I feel like this one actually fits if it's done well, where I can just, and they joke about it. I feel like they have learned a lot, right? We're not looking at harvest levels of management. They figured that kind of thing out, and they kind of joked even about that. The micromanaging side of it. So it feels like it will just be fun. It feels like it'll just be a cool thing to explore and do, and while you still get to go and do your mapping and all of your other stuff. I'm quite looking forward to it. I thought the idea was very, very cool.
I think it's a really unique idea, and just so people don't think we're being hypocritical, I have massive problems with micromanagement. That's not why I play this game. I will play a completely different game if I want micromanagement, something like a SimCity builder or Age of Empires. That's what I play when I'm in a little bit more of a micromanagement mood. But leagues are where you try stuff out. Now, they talked about micromanagement, like you said, a lot in the reveal. And GGG has a history of, okay, we're introducing this mechanic that we're trying to use to motivate people to play our game for the sake of income every 3 months, but they'll include an insane amount of micromanagement within their league, even up to recently. Like, for example, the previous league, right, with the corpse crafting. But then when it goes core, you'd look at something like Bestiary, or you look at something like Harvest, the drastic difference of, for those who played the league versus those who now are familiar with it in comparison, it's totally different, right? The reason that it's core that way is because micromanagement in this game sucks. That's not why people play. You come in to theory craft, go into a map, kill monsters, come back, kill monsters, and it's all about killing monsters and the loot. And
so you do micromanage, but it's micromanaging your gear and your build. That's what you want to feel like you're doing.
Micromanaging for the sake of your character. But if you do more micromanaging than you do playing,
there's a problem.
Like, the micromanaging isn't part of the playing. If it is, fine. You're a hideout creator if that's your case. You're a Sims 4 lover if that's the case, and that's fine, but that's not the primary objective of Path of Exile. It's a part, but not the primary part. And so I'm hoping that this isn't too much micromanagement. Like, I know they talked about it, and I know that it seems like they're very aware, okay, our failures with the previous league weren't necessarily the outcomes of the league, but how to get there, the micromanagement of getting there. So what I hope, like, they have a massive city builder, they have shipments, they have people doing things for you, they have auto map runners, they have so much going on. I'm just hoping that at the end of the day, with everything going on, yes, it's a tiny bit of micromanagement here, tiny bit of micromanagement there, tiny bit of micromanagement there. Hopefully all that tiny bit of micromanagement isn't all of a sudden 20 different areas of micromanagement that it's a lot of micromanagement.
I think the fact that they made it where you can, where it continues to do stuff while you're offline, that made me feel a lot better about their idea of what it was doing, because I feel like when you just hearing that, I was like, okay, they get it. Like,
yes,
I do want to do the stuff they're talking about. I'm excited
and the emphasis that it's not like a mobile game,
right? The only thing
I love that they brought up in the video and also in the Q&A, because Yeah, I love that they brought that up because that is kind of like what a mobile game is. Oh, pay this amount and you can. I mean, obviously that's not what GGG is, and they'll never do that. And I love to kind of quote your free to play or go back to your free to play bit. GGG is so good at continually making sure that their game is free to play.
Yeah. That the paid things are not game affecting, which is awesome.
Cosmetic. Yeah. And I hate that they have to every single microtransaction be like, this is free. Oh,
I think it's good that they do that. I think it's good.
Well, they have to.
They do.
But I hate that there's people out there that, oh, what do you mean? They're like, oh, now I get, I don't know, whatever.
There's always still arguments like, oh, my bell dings when I crit, that helps somebody. Okay, come on, that's stupid. Like, oh, my cloak gets brighter because I have enough resist. Like, no, that's just silly. The only thing I noticed, I wish they would have done it so I could have seen, you know how you can get the auto map runner, right, where you can put in a bunch of maps.
Yeah, I'm really curious.
Can you
about
not
that.
control click those maps? Because they had to place each map individually. They had to click the map.
That might have been just so that people caught on to details. There's some people that catch on to details really quick, and some people that are a little bit slower. Well, but I'm sure in the Q&A, I think this is the patch or the expansion where it's like, what did they say? What did Mark say? There's a button combination for mouse and keyboard where... Oh,
yeah. It's like control right click.
Something like that. And then like all your exalts or all your chaos go over into one thing. So maybe... I mean, maps are different because maps have mods.
No, I know. Just,
you know what I mean? And you kind of want to be picky because you're based on an NPC. And so if you think about it like... I kind of get the heist impression. So it's like, okay, so here's my NPC. And I don't know how you're going to be able to recruit these specific individuals. But if you think about it like heist, think about it like, sure, there's a specific NPC, but now there's this NPC with all these different modifiers from all that equipment you've given them. That's probably what the other NPCs are like, but they're individual NPCs, but they have different modifiers on them, so they're more efficient. So you probably don't want to do that whole like mass click until you have I don't want a mass ultimate NPC.
Just a control click. Let me do. It seemed weird to me that I had to click each map and then click it into the box, and click each map and click it into the box. That's honestly, all I'm saying.
I think that if that's not already a thing, it'll very easily be a thing. I feel like
it probably is one. I kept watching him going like, please just control click one. Let me just see what.
But Justin, you're a controller convert. You don't have to
still, even with a controller, do you want to really have to hit A, then move over to that spot, then hit A? It should be just A and it pops right in, or X.
On an Xbox controller, you just hit X and it goes boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, but maybe it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. Whatever the layout they had for how you fed the maps in for the auto map runner.
Justin? Controller support.
Oh, you just wait. It's going to be awful.
For life.
It's going to be awful.
Hey, are you going to use your new controller?
No. PoE2.
Hey, this guy right here. You going to use it? Oh, no, wait. Where's the camera? Can you read that or is it backwards?
Right here?
Oh, it's amazing.
It's even plugged in. Look, it's charged all the time.
It's going to be so charged, it's not going to work.
Hold on.
Wait.
There, pathofexile 2.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all charged up and ready to go.
You have the wrong D-pad on, but you know, you're good.
It's whatever it came with, buddy. I don't know how to change it.
Swap it out, man. I don't like that 8-digit D-pad. I like the 4-digit one.
I need more digits.
You need a 16-digit?
I need all the digit stuff.
Dude, when you become a controller convert for PoE2, you're going to be asking me so many questions that I'm seriously going to have like a half wet, half hard on the entire time, because you're going to be asking me all these questions. I'm like, well, Justin, the smart flask system works like...
Okay, anyway. So what else about 325? I mean, there's stuff. For me, I'm excited overall. Gold, yeah.
Now, here's the thing that really surprised me, and I'm sure it's just an oversight. Remember when they first introduced gold in the second Exile Con?
Yeah, it wasn't the first.
Pretty sure it was the second one. Mm-hmm. They didn't even talk about it until somebody brought it up in a post interview, and Jonathan was like, "Oh yeah, gold. Oh right. I'm sure you have questions." With gold here, they also forgot kind of the primary thing. So gold is a thing, they didn't even say if it auto picks up or not. It looked
did.
like it auto picked up according to the new radius for mouse pickup.
Mhm.
But they didn't touch on orbs of regret. I'm assuming orbs of regret are still a thing.
Yeah.
And you have the option between gold or orbs of regret.
Yep.
One thing that this is the first reveal probably ever that I can think of where I, as a standard player, can't tell the difference between what's included in the league and what's permanently core.
Sure.
Normally, there's a very clear core specific and then a very clear, okay, now this is everything else that's happening with the game.
Yeah. My guess is gold is not.
There is so much in this reveal that I cannot tell what's core or what's temporary for the next 3/4 months. So because they didn't touch on orbs of regret, I'm assuming obviously orbs of regret are still a thing. If they were removing orbs of regret, they would have said so. So orbs of regrets are still a thing. And if you have 100 billion of them, sweet, then you don't have to spend your gold because gold is relevant for so many other things, right? You're spending gold as a specific resource within the league.
Within the town, yeah.
But now you're also spending gold for core mechanics like respecking, which have nothing to do with the league. I'm really interested in gold. I really hope that GGG in the future, maybe that's going to be included now. They didn't touch on it at all in the specific Q&A and reveal, but I hope anything that's auto pickup has a substantially larger radius than what you manually pick up. It makes no sense for something that's auto pickup to have a smaller radius. It make it screen wide. Or, I mean, you still want people to know that you're picking up gold, but at the same time, do I care if I'm picking up gold? I just want to pick up, just let me pick it up. It doesn't even, I don't even need a visual. Just let's see how much gold I have. Oh, that's how much gold I have. Okay, great. I don't even honestly need to know that I'm picking it up. So hopefully in the future, maybe it's now, the radius for auto pickup is so much bigger than my manual pickup. Well, respecking for gold, I think, is an amazing thing. I think respecking for gold is a really cool aspect, especially if you don't care about the mechanic. If you don't care about building your town, if you don't care. I love the idea that building your town up is what encourages bosses to come attack your town, and that's how you get the league mechanic bosses. I think that is really cool. GGG, though I'm not a fan of the majority of their boss fights. They are very proud of their boss fights, and they're getting much better at their boss fights, especially with PoE2 coming forward. One thing that I thought was kind of weird was that Jonathan was in part of the Q&A. He's purely PoE2. What's he doing in a purely PoE1 Q&A?
Questions, though.
But there wasn't. There was not one. So no, that's not a criticism. I don't care how many people you have and I don't care who you have, but I want the questions to be answered. But to me, I thought that was interesting. So for the fact that there's, the PoE2 is on the horizon, they have all this stuff coming. I think it's really interesting with all that and how much PoE2 stuff is coming to Path of Exile 1, right? Like waypoints and static boss health bars. So with all that in mind, boss design stuff is also in there. So I'm curious if these are pre-existing bosses that have been modified or if they're new bosses. But I think it all encompasses what PoE2 is trying to bring to the game. You know what I mean? I don't think you're really going to have any more, excuse my French, I don't think you're going to have any more shitty bosses coming into the Path of Exile. Whether they're pre-existing bosses that they've redone to come into the game, whether they're brand new bosses that they're introducing in the game, I don't think you're going to have any more crappy bosses. So to have they said there's 3 bosses as you build up your town. And I don't know, bosses are my thing. Metamorph sucked. Absolutely sucked, but I loved the prospect of it and building your own. They applied it poorly, but I love bosses. That's what this game is to me. The fact that there's 150-ish maps in the Atlas is exciting to me because of bosses, not because of the map variety, but because of bosses. And so when you have something like Metamorph, which this isn't, of course, that excites me. Metamorph was done poorly, but whenever GGG adds more bosses, I'm like, yes, I hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I like that it's tied into the league as well.
30 minutes, Tyler.
I'm picking my moments, Ty. You're really excited with some of these. So when I've tried to make a point, you get right back in there. I am excited about it. I think it'll be good.
I'm using communication. Oh, right. There was a hilarious. Can I send you this? I don't know. Maybe you can cut this out.
No, what is it? Just tell me.
There's a part. It was at the end of the 325 reveal, just before they went into kind of like their last little blurb, and then there was the Q&A.
It's the same thing I was thinking.
There was a part where there was just what?
Where a guy sitting on a bench looking sad, and when Mark makes the comment about I don't know, man, balance is hard.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Well, that's one of them. Like,
so
balance is hard, but you know what? I love
Kudos
that
to
they
them for
added
saying
that.
it. I love that they added that in there.
Because screw the people that think it's that the exact fucking science.
The
it's
game
not.
Is so big. To have it always balanced is insane. So I love that they said that.
Have 3 months worth of mistakes.
Yeah.
Let it. Like, you know the game you're playing. There's no brand new player that's being like, FDFF balance. Yeah. They're talking about new player stuff. About knowledge, about knowing what works and what doesn't. The players that are criticizing this stuff are players that know the 4-month schedule. Like, I'm so impressed that GGG this time really emphasized, like, chill out. Mm-hmm. Let us figure this out with you. Let's be a team. I think GGG did a great job at emphasizing that we're all together on this.
Yeah,
I think no matter how poor or great this league goes, will be irrelevant of what the league actually is. I think the how they communicated in this reveal really kind of brought together that no matter if you're one of those people that you and I would criticize as a Reddit prick, or what, no matter where you are in this community, we're on the same team. We're just trying to make this game better. Whether you're a staff member, whether you're a long-term player, short-term player, I think they did a really good job communicating it. And they did it in a way where we couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. We constantly call people that are like, stupid. Like, we kind of cut them down, which I guess we shouldn't. But
nah, we should.
The GGG did a great job at, in a positive way, combining us into a whole team. Like, hey, let's just make this game better. If you don't like it, that's fine. Just let us know. We won't include it, or we'll modify it, whatever it is. And so
was that not the one you were trying to bring up? Because that was, to me, one of the best lines that Mark had.
There was a section just before the end. I thought it was going to be the end of the reveal into the Q&A, but then they went into one more thing. But there was a section where they just had like kind of some static NPCs standing around, and then all of a sudden they had a character doing like leap slams all over the screen just for fun. It was really funny, and I really want to show it to you, but we're doing the video thing, so I don't know how you're going to cut it.
Don't screw things up.
Hang on.
What are you doing?
Remind me in 5 minutes to show Justin about the jumping character in the reveal.
Did it work?
I'll remind you today at 12:37 p.m.
Perfect. Anyway, what else do you have? Because for me, there's too
now
much
it's
to
just
go
the
over.
patch notes, but now we're like an hour and a half in. But like,
was there anything patch note wise though that, like, it's funny that it's so big, but I actually didn't care. I was like, cool, let me play it.
Right.
Yeah, I love the melee
of course,
changes.
but I love that GGG tried to found a way to make, hopefully, like we haven't played it yet, but the mentality they have and the application that they put to melee in 325, it looks legit. It looks like, yes, like totems were the bane of melee. So remove totems completely, and what a great idea. What a great concept. Like, melee is, I'm doing the damage.
Yeah, don't make the totem
not my accessories, and not a button accessory. Like, I'm not talking like tinctures, which they added again, because that's a passive application. That's great. So who cares how many applications of tinctures you have? I'm still hitting my earthquake. I'm still hitting my consecrated ground, whatever the slam or whatever melee it is. That's a passive application. It's not, I'm like not needing to hit 4 different buttons to make melee moderately good. But like we said in I think we mentioned this in the previous episode, changing quality is a massive benefit to melee as well, because melee or attack skills in general are way more dependent on what's dropping for you through the campaign and the leveling experience. The ability to improve your quality now up to 30%, but also substantially easier. It's way easier to...
You tried, buddy. You tried. That was awesome. I could hear it coming as you were trying to get through the sentence.
I know.
Nice try.
40s, man. The 40s.
It is going to be cool because it has such a big difference.
Like we were talking to Try a few weeks ago, it just happens. You don't choose.
No.
You just, all of a sudden you're in the middle of your life, and screw you for
old
making
man
fun
wheeze
of
while
us.
you speak.
So,
but it is going to be a big deal.
It is because item, how much quality you add to an item for the now multiple types of, total side note, as a filter creator, I am screwed. They add new premiums.
Just leave the filter.
Shut your stupid face.
What was
they
it? The
added
chisels,
new
right?
premiums
The chisels now
to
like 6
base
kinds.
types. Now every single base type has multiple premiums to it.
Yeah,
I have to go through my whole filter.
I think just use the default.
Every single base type, every single sub base type, which isn't a technical term, and quality now goes up to 30%, and they have multiple chisels.
It's going to be awesome.
It would be awesome if they cared about their vanilla loot base experience.
I think it's great. I think it's
if
on
you
point.
could. Well, you personally, if you could just die, but if the vanilla default filter experience was good, awesome. But I seriously hope they throw $100,000 at Neversink every single league, because it's insane. Like, sure, yes, these changes are great, but without Neversink,
no, you need it. 100%. You need it.
Like, I really hope that the $400,000 that they should be throwing at Neversink every single year, I really hope he gets that. And Neversink, if you're not getting it, I swear, if this is the only episode you live for, yes, yes. But if Neversink, if you're not making $400,000 a year that comes from GGG, block them out, cut them out. Like, this these changes are amazing.
They are.
Thanks,
Neversink. Love you.
If somebody doesn't have to volunteer their man hours or woman hours to do this.
No. Well, support Neversink on Patreon. I think he has a Patreon, so people should pay for that.
GG support Neversink.
GG should. But
so I use PoE Planner all the time. So I'm a patron of PoE Planner, even though I can't really afford it. My wife and I are in a financial situation where we're like, not to get into finances, and it's nobody's business, but it's like, we're kind of always on that thing. Should we be subscribed to Amazon Prime? Should we have like Netflix? Like, we're talking $15-20 a month.
Yep.
But I'm a patron of PoE Planner because I use it all the time. And to me, like, I'm one of like 5 patrons. I literally think that there's only 5 patrons of PoE Planner. How many people use it for their Atlas passive trees every single league? If you use Neversink's filters, give them $5 a month.
Yeah.
But no matter how much Neversink makes through Patreon or whatever other platform they might use to make an income, GGG better be paying them. And it's none of our business. That's between Neversink and GGG, right? So don't criticize GGG. Don't criticize Neversink. Neversink?
Yeah.
Did I forget it already?
No, you got it. Just find a way to put it in the game. That's what I say.
But GGG, you better be paying Neversink. And Neversink, you better be getting paid by GGG.
Yeah. You watch even when they played, and it was pretty funny watching the loot drop, and they're just using the default filter, and you're like, that's not how they play.
They emphasize the default filter. Oh, it's so
well, they
insane.
have no choice though. If that's what they have, then that's what they do. So
Sure.
I get it. But it would be nice to see them build Neversinks into it.
Dot.
Yeah.
So let's do the league. We're already an hour and a half in.
Yeah, we got
the league.
Yeah, the league looks awesome. I can't wait.
City building,
Cool.
Apparently minor amounts of microtransactions, micromanagement. That's the better you do with your city building, the more attractive your city is. Your quote unquote gangster bosses are like, "Hey, yo, what's up? I need a cut," and they come in to get their cut, and so you got to defeat them or
Steal
pay
some
them
of your
off if you
people
can't do
and
it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool.
I like that. I have nothing to say about it until I interact with it. I think it's going to be really. I love the concept of it. I think it's kind of neat.
Yep.
It's a first for them.
Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft did a horrible job adding new mechanics to their Assassin's Creed series back in the day. Tower
I like the
mechanics,
first one they did with
boss
the mechanic
invasion.
where you built up the city. I don't remember which one that was, though.
I thought they did a
like
really
that.
poor job with it.
I
Where
like that.
then you go in something different like Elden Ring, and the first time they add maps, the first time they add mounts, the first time they add open world, the first time they add crafting, and they nail every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully GGG nails this
I think this one's going to be good.
city building aspect. It seemed really neat. I really hope they did it. Honestly, all it takes is one small detail that impacts everything and it sucks. And that's not necessarily a fault. It's an oversight, or it's just the complications of doing something so new for the first time. But I really obviously hope they nail it. But it's neat how much is intertwined into this new mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Like auto running maps, man.
It's fun.
And
especially because you always
but
have a
it's-
surplus of maps as you get further into the league. So having the ability to send guys away to do that, to make extra stuff while you're not there. I love this whole idea of sending off ships. You know, if I'm going to bed for the night, I plan around like, okay, I'm going to send a 10-hour one because I'm not going to be online while it's happening. I think it's really fun. And I also think that
we're getting back into dailies though, man. Remember back in the day when masters were dailies?
You could skip it. You don't have to do
Well,
it. It's just you're going to get extra stuff. I know, but that
I can't tell you how many date nights I had with my wife back in the day where I'm like, yeah, I know, but just let me do 15 minutes dailies first, and then I wouldn't get any.
Yeah, I hope it'll be interesting. I don't think any of the stuff looks like it's that kind of idea, but I know what you're talking about. But to me, it just looks like it's a fun mechanic to play around with. I don't know if it'll draw in all of my time through the league, but I love that it's intertwined to me running maps. I'm going to find stuff within the maps that then I can go and get my miners to go and do. And like, I do feel like a little bit though that it's taking away from you having a hideout, because it seems like that's the primary place that you'll probably do most of your stuff from, is from within that place.
They mentioned hideouts.
The only thing they mentioned with the hideout is you could take
NPCs.
not Faustus. It was one of the
Faustus.
crafter guys. You can invite them to your hideout. Like it was for a specific craft, but I don't remember what it was. There were two options that this particular NPC could do. But it made me think though that I would be out of my hideout more than I would normally be in a league. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I guess Heist was sort of that same thing, except I think you run maps. You can run maps directly from the city. I don't think you have to go to your hideout to run a map.
Yeah, I don't know if you had to. It looks like you had to build these devices to do more.
Well, I was to have the NPCs run them, but I'm not sure for yourself.
NPC available that's capable of doing the difficult content.
But
how
that was to
you
have them
discover
run the
if-
maps, though. I'm talking about for me to run maps. Can I load them from that same town? Because if so, you've really, I don't
It's
have
a lot
a
of screen
reason to be
hopping
in
if
my.
you have to go from town to map, from town to hideout. From
Yeah.
town. Yeah.
So-
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But I was thinking to myself, like, well, you're going to make it harder to sell a hideout if most of my time is actually spent in this town instead of in the hideout. So unless they eventually plan that you can decorate, I don't really know. We'll see what happens.
It is interesting. Again, it's temporary. So, and hideouts are where their money comes from. Like, obviously, it's part of where their money comes from, but you're not going to spend money to customize Kalguur or the settlement of Kalguur. You have the possibility of spending money to customize your actual hideout. But there's also the prospect of, yeah, no, you're right. Like it's temporary. So let's see how it goes. If this is something that ever goes core, of course, they're going to make it the best amalgamation of both, like they have with Harvest, like they have with best year. I'm talking about other micromanagement
It's hard to say
leagues.
too, because Heist is the same way. Heist, you have to go to a different zone when you want to do that related stuff. So it'll be interesting to see.
That's quick. I don't like it. I block Heist on a regular basis. I can't
Heist is not
stand
quick.
any aspect of Heist.
I love Heist, but Heist is not quick.
No. Like the hub is quick. The map itself doesn't have to be quick because a map is a map. And so a map, whether you get there from your hideout or whether you get there from Heist or whether you get there from the settlement of Kalguur, once you're in a map, it doesn't matter where you got there from. But the experience of actually being at the docks of Heist, once you're settled, once you've figured out how the process works and you've gone questing and all that's quick, right? Kalguur, or the settlement of Kalguur, does not seem quick.
Again, that's hard to say.
I hope it is.
I guess if you treat it like Heist in the beginning, you're running around to all the NPCs and you got to do different quests for them. Kalguur looks like you're going to different parts of the settlement to upgrade it. I don't know what it will mean to collect when you have things happen, but we'll have to see. For me, it's just a fun thing to try out in the game, and it doesn't take me away from mapping, because part of mapping actually affects this. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And you could do 4 maps at once, quote unquote. And one thing that really impressed me was that with the auto map running, they're attempting gear. It's not just currency. Like if I was doing this, I would have been like, okay, you know what? Screw gear. They're getting all these free maps. The reason that they're auto running maps is because they have too many. They're not going to run them all anyway. So let's just give them the currency. Like forget gear at all. But Mark was talking about gear. Pardon me?
I love that you would get gear. I think that's cool.
Yeah, and everybody would, but I don't think people would be sure they would wish you could get gear, but I don't think there would be a criticism if it was currency only. Like you're just giving away maps that you wouldn't be able to run anyway. Sure, you might be able to sell them on the new trade versions of markets, however it works with this new trade market that they have as well, but like these are burner maps that you'd be using. So there wouldn't really be a criticism if it was currency only, but they are attempting to do some sort of smart loot system where you're also getting gear as well.
I wonder if it'll be based off of your filter, how they'll decide what type of items it picks up. Right. Whatever. We'll have to see. That you mentioned the market thing. That's the only other thing that to me stood out as something crazy that they're trying, which I think is really cool. I love it. Trading for currency is the worst part about Path of Exile. It is awful when you need to get some type of currency or a shard or something. Oh my God.
Keep going,
awful.
But currency / fragments.
But anything, they're all the same to me. Anything that's a currency that I can trade.
I'm a filter
like
guy, so to me, like the classes are
they're
different,
all the same. Any
going.
of those things are the same, and trading for them is awful. It is so frustrating to do it. So the ability now to do it instantly, and you're actually trading with another human without having to trade with human, I just think it's such a cool concept for them to be trying it out. And I never ever thought I would see it in PoE1. I knew we were going to get something like that in PoE2. This is so cool that they're actually trying it in PoE1, because that's not a small change. That's a massive, massive change for them to be trying.
But they emphasized it's league specific. It's not core specific. This isn't guaranteed to stay. They're trying it out,
which is great.
And I love that. Like it's not, it's like the new mentality they have going forward is these aren't knee-jerk reactions. They might be a knee-jerk reaction, but we're trying it out.
Yep.
Right.
I think it's awesome.
But this might be a controversial comment, but these are baby steps to changing trade completely. Like now they have kind of the groundwork. Okay, so we're trying out this new feature in trade. Super. We are trying it out. Let's pretend it's a 4-month league because we know it's probably going to be. We're trying this out for 4 months. Okay, so next league, they have a new thing they are trying out for trade. Next league, they have a new thing they're trying out for trade. All of a sudden, trade is different. Yes, we liked how this worked. This is how trade is going to work now. It gives them the opportunity to slowly change how trade in general works. Yes, this is specifically, as far as I know, for bulk currency trading. right? And including gold in that respect, and not needing to count on the user to be online or
but
offline
it is the
or anything
thing
like
that is the hardest to trade for. Trading for items is not super difficult.
It is, but it lays the groundwork and the baby steps
to eventually have that.
Right, to further this for items, to further offline trading for other things, to further automatic completion, but also to completely change how the original, and Chris has admitted that trade is not like how it works right now in Path of Exile 1 is a mistake. He's like, we made a knee-jerk reaction long ago and we couldn't take it back. And I like that this is a step forward in the possibility of making trade the way they want, no matter how it's going to be like in PoE2, making trade they want in PoE1. I like it. To me, it's the groundwork, and I'm excited for it.
For me, it's taken the most annoying part of the game and potentially given it a fix. I think, especially when you're talking end game, when you're talking about having to get certain shards to fight certain bosses or well, just whatever. I need a divine, or I'm looking for the ability now to just be able to put it in there, find out what it's selling for, and get it. Oh, I freaking love that.
All right.
I love
but
that.
Then you have it. Like, imagine this when sextants were a thing. That would have been huge. I mean, imagine. You remember how much?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, no,
but yes.
remember how much waiting you had to do to play the. I mean, I know you hated the balance of how it all worked, but imagine how much.
It would have been way easier.
That would have been if the quote unquote offline version of trading was available for. I have all these sextants. These are
even now. Thinking about it now, going ahead, if I want to go back to my playing Blight, which I really enjoyed Blight, being able to now just buy the scarabs that I want because I've earned up other things, or maybe I've always had bulk of a lot of stuff that I'm not going to use, but I'm not a TFT person. I don't want to go on Discord to try and figure out how to sell currency. I don't want to try and figure out the math of how I'm supposed to list it. So now the ability to just do it from in the game, I just think that's great. Right. I freaking love it.
Last league, they made some changes to the market to try and not to discourage TFT, but to make TFT less viable or less dependent on it. And this is another one of those things.
Yeah.
I am sorry. 1 sec for another bathroom break. And yes, I washed my hands. They smell like lavender and shea butter.
What's left? Let's wrap this up.
What do you mean what's left? We're just starting. We're not going through all notes. I don't know. The banner rework I think is really cool. I love that it doesn't reserve mana anymore, but it's all based on the interaction of you actually dropping the banner. Which
I never used. I never dropped it. I only used it for the passive.
There's even unique things like on the tree now to gain, like to fill up, quote unquote, your banner, you gain a resource called Valor. And when your Valor is full, there's nodes on the tree that give you like 3 endurance charges when you fill up your Valor. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe I could have a free banner kicking around and just for me, but then all of a sudden I'll automatically get 3. Maybe it's worth getting, those 4 nodes so I can get 3 endurance charges every time I fill up my Valor. Cool stuff, right? Cool stuff. Rage got completely reworked. Tinctures. Justin, the retaliation skills. I like them. I mean, they're active. I'm not going to use them, but you know what they did?
I do.
As a result of the retaliation skills, Justin, they got rid of counterattack skills. Vengeance, vengeance, riposte, and whatever the other one is.
But the new ones look cool. I think they'll be fun.
They're gone. Yeah, but now those skills that did damage when you didn't have to do anything, they're gone.
Yeah, now you got to do stuff.
Yeah, now you have to hit a button.
Now you got to hit stuff.
Oh, the pain. Did you go through the active skill gems and supports? There were a lot. And sure, most of them are melee. Like melee got like doubled in damage. It's crazy the amount of damage that they're doing, but it's insane. And then there was a huge section on item rarity and quantity as well.
I heard about that. I think that'll be a fun trip.
I was surprised. Yeah, still surprised how many ascendancies changed. Sure, of course they did a melee rework, but so some of them make sense. But there was also like endurance charges had a big change to them, where they don't give elemental resist they've improved to the point of giving reduced elemental damage taken. So it's similar to
it's kind of cool, but it also makes it so you need to understand more. It's one of the things that I was like, it's a cool change. I understand it because it will be more beneficial to me, but it doesn't make sense. At least like the way that you have to figure out, I've got resist, 75% resist, but then I've got reduced elemental damage taken. Where does that calculate in? Like, to me, I know that it's better, but I don't like that. I don't know why or how it's figured out. And I don't need to.
That's another thing about like they're getting closer to in-game communication and what the difference is between less and reduced. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so hopefully that's something that comes in Path of Exile 1. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, I don't care. And I don't mean any offense to Mark Roberts if he ever listens to this, but Path of Exile 2 is coming out. Like I will only care about Path of Exile 1 for 2 reasons. 1, until Path of Exile 2 comes out. And 2, I care about GGG, so I want whatever games they're making to be successful for their sake. But
that's good.
Hopefully they come out with more in-game communication, but I only care about that until the final, well, honestly, until the beta comes out for PoE2, because that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So the Berserker obviously got a massive revamp because of Melee. The Champion actually got a lot of revamp as well, but that was mostly, and I like the changes. It was there are a lot less passive ally changes and now more interactive ally changes. The Champion is now more, I'm going to do stuff and that's going to benefit my allies, as opposed to before it was you're just getting these benefits because I exist. Mm-hmm. And that's more of a Guardian thing as opposed to a Champion thing. So I kind of like that now there's like, the Guardian is, these are just these benefits and you get them because I'm a part of your party. So hallelujah and you're welcome. The Champion is now, I'm doing stuff and I'm pumping you up, man. It's kind of what it's like. And that's obviously how people talk as well.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that is. The Chieftain had a lot of changes, but that was more, in my opinion, counteractive to the changes they made. It wasn't because the Chieftain had a theme. It was just because those changes had to be made because of the core changes. The Jug had some big changes, but that was mostly because of how endurance charges changed. One of the biggest changes was they no longer get chaos res per endurance charge. And a lot of the default changes GGG made to mods in this league were kind of removing or avoiding a certain percentage of armor also applies to an elemental resist or a chaos resist. So the Jug changed in regards to that, but the Jug still has decent chaos resist option, a decent chaos resist option, but it's not in the same regards as endurance charges. It's separate now. Glad got completely reworked, and I'm not going to pretend to try and understand it. Obviously, it's all block and retaliation based, but I mean, the whole Ascendancy is completely different. Deadeye changed, but in a similar way to the Juggernaut, in my opinion. The Deadeye changed because it needed to, based on the changes that were made, not because it was a creative difference. And we no longer have a Ranger Ascendancy, Justin.
What was it? Not Ranger.
The Ranger is now the Warden.
The Ranger?
Raider.
Yeah.
Did I say Ranger? Yeah. Ranger's the class,
Ranger's
right?
the class, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we no longer have a Raider.
Mm-hmm.
It is now a Warden. So now they can use the Raider as a PoE2 class. But the Warden. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was kind of neat. I didn't realize I left my door open. Sorry.
It's a big change for them to actually like dump an entire Ascendancy.
Yeah. Yeah, to cool. Dump an entire Ascendancy, but they kept a lot of what it used to be in there, but they made it very melee elemental. You know what I mean? Like it is turning into one of those things, and you're starting to see, especially with this change going forward, they're going to have 36 Ascendancies in Path of Exile 2. They are going to be very specific, it seems, like with this change. I know this isn't PoE2. This is PoE1. I get that. I'm trying to remember that, but this is quite specific. It's kind of like what the Guardian was when Heralds came out, or what the Pathfinder was when the Virulence came to existence. Tinctures. Sorry, what are they?
Tincture.
Now they're out, and they're very specific to this Ascendancy.
Yeah,
I don't see that lasting because that's too specific, but they're trying it out, right? They're at least giving the Raider some love, which is funny because the Raider, despite the fact that it was the smallest in terms of keystones for any of the other Ascendancies, it was very strong. So it's interesting to me that they replaced this one instead of one that was completely dead. But I guess in terms of what the Warden is for, it made sense to replace it. But still, the Raider wasn't an unpopular class. It had a lot of survivability and it had a lot of damage. So, interesting. And they added an absurd amount of stuff to the Atlas passive tree. So many revamps, so many mastery changes, so many new clusters, so many notable Valpact is back, but only for melee.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Really smart. Really, really smart. So just, there's just too much. There's just I can't handle how much there is. It really is insane how much there is.
I couldn't read through all of this even if I wanted to.
I did.
Did you read through all of it?
I did.
Every single line?
Except for, not every single line. I skipped through the unique item changes because I don't care. I went through Ruthless, but barely, just to see if there was anything that mattered to me. Monster balances were unique. I keep forgetting I went to the Lyric League mods, and I'm like, oh, right. All the mods are available now. I forgot about that. Quest rewards were different because they were talking about the big changes with, like, there were so many new skills added. So they changed where certain skills, for example, Molten Shell isn't a level 4 skill anymore. You get it like level 12 or something like that. So, where all those skills are available now. But then, of course, there's the Bandit quest changes and user interface changes.
Oh, the Through the Sacred Grove quest now gives the 1 passive skill point.
I don't know which one that is, though.
I don't actually know what Through the Sacred Grove is either, but I imagine it's early on, like Act 2-ish.
Through the Sacred Ground. Just a second.
Maybe that's when you go through the Val area, like when you break the roots. But apparently it only gave 2 passive skill refunds before, so I don't know if I ever would have even run it.
This is the quest that we always avoid in Act 2, I think.
Which is?
It's Act 2. It's the one where you go and get the golden hand for Yina.
Okay.
So normally you would completely avoid that.
Well, you would go to get the thing.
But it's confusing because it's the same area that you would go in Act 6 or whatever, like when the new act starts, then you go down there, but you go down there for, I forget where you go down there, because that's what I hate about when you reuse content. You go down there to get the map. Right.
You go down there to get the map. Yeah,
that's right.
Now
and
you would,
so
you
now
would go
in
down
Act
there
2,
even
you're going to go
normally.
down to
Well, you would go down there normally in Act 2, but only to get the trial, right? But now,
right. So now you're going down for the extra thing, right?
That's cool.
Now,
I like that.
But it is because now she also gives you.
She still gives you the 2 passives, but you also get your 1 passive skill
Book of
point.
Regret.
Right.
You still get the Book of Regret.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you get that extra point. So if you chose to kill all of the, if you did decide to kill all of the bandits, you would still get your 2 points now because you get the 1 from Aramir and you would get the 1 from that. But now you could actually just get the 1 anyway from doing the golden hand and then get whatever you wanted from the bandits. That's cool. I like that.
Which bandit are you going to do? Do you have a guaranteed one?
No. It would probably be between Oak and it would either be the Max Life for the increased movement speed. I wouldn't do it for the elemental resist. So I could see myself probably doing the movement speed. That is the one that seems the most worthwhile to me. The only thing I could see is when we do like private leagues or something where we do weird things, sometimes Oak can be awful early on. So I could also see myself just being like, I'm just going to help him. I'll take the 40 off and not have to fight him.
Yeah.
But no, I have no idea. I'll probably take the movement speed.
Honestly, there's so much to go through. Yeah, you know what? I'm 50-50 on the movement speed or the passive point as well.
Just be careful if you're playing on hardcore with people then. Because if you don't choose the same option, everybody used to always just kill all of them. But if you choose to kill and I choose to help, I get to fight you.
I was checking out the Atlas passive tree, and it's really cool. Like
nice, I'll check
the concept of scarabs now is a little bit more. Like there's still a lot of content, a lot of mechanics I don't like. I don't like Breach. I don't like Legion. I don't like Expedition. There's lots that I don't like that I'm happy to block. But the concept of scarabs now with all of these new additions is extra enticing. You know what I mean? 6 map device slot, and to be able to control a bit more of the scarabs that you have now that there are 6 slots to deal with. I'm really interested in interacting with the map device with that many slots. I'm curious to see what the new drop rates are for all of these different items and all the different chisels. Like it's a filter creator's hell. That's for sure. Like there's one Neversink, and I know GGG, well, I don't know, but I assume GGG interacts with Neversink on a regular basis, but I don't think they would interact with anybody else. And so I really hope their filter post is not some dumb list. You know what I mean? That they actually, like, if there's 3 new energy shield bases for chest pieces, I really hope they tier them and show us which one's higher than the other before launch.
You got like, what, 5 days? Launch is Friday, right?
Plenty of time to redo 30,000 lines of code. You betcha. You betcha.
All right. Anything else? Otherwise, let's wrap this up. You can save it for After Dark. You'll think of something.
They've added so many things.
I think we hit all of them. I think we hit every single one of them.
Oh no, they have like the Nameless Seer. They added Sentinel.
We talked about him.
Justin?
Yeah, I saw that. And the Recombinators again too.
I'm really curious and what?
Recombinators. It's all back. Yeah. It's like half back, which is cool though still. I think it's awesome.
Still, it's insane. Yeah. It's insane. So
yeah, it's fun.
Right. There honestly, there really is
way too many things for us.
So thank you, Mr. Justin, for your time. Mr.
This
Tags.
Was the epicest of all epic 250. We've done 250 episodes, Ty. Plus After Dark, we're at like 500. That's a lot.
I hear that's a lot.
I've heard that's a lot.
There's roughly 50 weeks in a year, so that's a lot of lettuce.
That's a lot of lettuce.
Wait, that really is 5 years.
Did you
I keep thinking we've only been doing this for 2 years.
Did you like the tweet when I wrote 30,000? That's a lot, and I put the cow. I did that just for you. That was just for you. I love doing stuff where I know only you're going to get it.
20 million. That's a lot. That's another Jerry Seinfeld. I had to find a cow for the last time.
Yep. I had to find a cow emoji at the end of it. So anyway.
Even though it was a horse, because it's referencing horsepower.
Oh, you're right. No. He's talking about cows. How many cows or how many people served at McDonald's, and a cow saying like 20 million. That's a lot.
I thought you were doing no. I thought you were talking like, because remember he's talking about spaceships and how they still do horsepower. Even though it's like 20 million horsepower.
No, that's not where he's. The 20 million is not there. The 20 million is when he talks about how stupid it is that McDonald's says like 20 million served or whatever, and then that's when he's like the cow says 20 million. That's a lot.
This isn't to call you out, but I think you're mixed up.
I don't think so.
I think you're mixed up because I think it was NASA trying to get. I need you to get 20 million of your friends so we can get this rocket ship to work. 20 million. That's a lot.
No, that's not what it is.
All right. So here's the thing.
It to you afterwards.
It's not about who's right or wrong. But
no.
Obviously, we're mixing up our quotes, which means it's time for a refresher.
Yeah, we'll find it. That's right.
So
we'll have to watch
let's get a bunch of people together and we will watch Seinfeld. I'm telling you, for the last time.
Yeah, it's so good. Let's wrap this up though. Forever Exile 250. I'm Justin AK Tags.
Tyler Recker of Days.
Patrons, we will see you in After Dark. Everybody else will see you next week at League launch for 251. If you look for more information, find down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter for foreverexiled82. We have a very fun Discord. Pop in there and say hi. And Patreon, other ways to support the podcast. You'll find them down below and on the website. Good luck at the 325, whatever this league is.
Forever Exiled 82, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow, that's like a teenage thing to do, hey? Like, include your birth year in your ID.
Somebody else had Forever Exiled, and they don't even use it. Sure.
Bastards.
Yeah.
Now we had to tell everyone when we were born.
Yeah, how old we are. That's just our favorite number. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's right.
Good luck with the Settlers of Kalguur. Everyone, we'll see you next week.
Oh, yeah, next week. That's right. We're going to be playing and stuff, man.
Sort of.
You can play on controller?
Bye.
Yeah, you are. Playing on controller.